Hello voters, my name is Matt Beer and I work at the Cabinet Office. I'm a Senior Policy Advisor for the Open Innovation team. Now I want to talk to you about two things very briefly. One is what's going on in politics at the moment, and the second is about my job. So I know you're voting on politics and the state of things as they are right now, and I thought I'd give you a perspective from being inside government. So strangely, even though we've had Brexit and the election that's been announced coming up, the work of the civil service doesn't change a huge amount. I have friends who are working to prepare possibly the new minister to understand the work they've done, and I've got friends who are working on long-term projects who are just keep going. So while all the politics seems to be changing a lot, the civil servants behind it tend to have fairly steady jobs who work on policy areas that they know a lot about, say working on climate change or working on transport, that they just carry on with as things go along. I'm not really allowed to have a perspective on politics, as a civil servant you have to be objective and just go with the government of the day, but I would say we're living through some interesting times, that it's a really interesting time to be growing up as a young person. When I was kind of 16, 17, it was a very stable time for politics. And my generation, I think, got a little bit apathetic about politics because things seem to be in the background, whereas now it's so different with Brexit and the volatile nature of politics. A lot of people seem to be getting really passionate, and I would encourage you to be passionate, even if you can't vote in the general election that comes up. I encourage you to talk about it with friends, talk about it with your parents, talk about it with your grandparents. It's a cross-generational issue, and what we saw in the referendum as well as the last election was that generations voted very differently. So people who were your grandparents' age voted very differently to people who were 18 or 19. So I'd really encourage you to talk about it with your parents, talk about it with your wider families, because even if you're not voting, you can definitely still have an input on what's happening around you. Now, very quickly, my job is to bring academics and PhD students into the civil service. And as a plug for the civil service, I would say it's a really good place to work. If you're thinking about future careers, I would say the civil service is a very diverse, accessible place with a really good work and life balance. So really worth considering. You can either apply via the fast stream, which is when you're in university or college, you can apply via the fast stream to go really quickly into the civil service. It's a graduate program, so you can do it straight out of university or college, or you can apply directly for a position. So if you become, say, an engineer, or you become a chemist or a biologist and you're really interested in a specific area, you can then take those skills and apply them directly into the civil service. It is a place where you can really make a difference. Some of the work I'm doing right now could really help make progress on issues like climate change, and it's really nice to be a part of that. So I'd say if you do want to make an impact, it's definitely a career worth thinking about. So good luck with the vote, have a great week, and it's great to chat to you all.